This is The Hub on Hollywood. I'm James.
I'm Jamie.
And we love
movies. And drama. We love
drama
on movie sets and things like that. So one of the many things that we are going to be talking about today, drama on the set of Mission Impossible 1000.
Impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
I refuse to believe it, but yeah, we have the Tom Cruise rant heard around the world.
Yeah.
We will be getting into that. Also, Wonder Woman opens up in not only in theaters and VOD soon in the United States. It's already been released in China, but how well did it do? Did it wonder win or did it wonder lose? And of course, I tried. And of course, we're going to get into The Mandalorian, the final episode of Season 2. So many things happened. So much to discuss. We will be getting into that later on. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this week's Hub on Hollywood. As I mentioned, I'm James. She's Jamie. And you are watching us on either YouTube or Facebook. If you are, please like, please subscribe, comment down below, join the conversation. You can also listen to us on any of the major podcasting streaming services, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And you can find us on the social media sites, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
You can find us, you mentioned Facebook. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. So like James said, go there, find us, share us with your friends, leave a like, subscribe, follow, all of those
like
things.
Like us, love us, gotta have us.
Gotta have us. Join the conversation so that we can keep bringing this fun content to you and letting you know not only, the great things that are happening in movies and television, but also help you get cast in a movie of your own. If you live in the New England region, that's what we do and that's what we talk about many times. So do it! What are you waiting for?
And you know what else we're waiting for? We're waiting for Tom Cruise to come back to work, apparently. I think he went on winter break after this moment that was caught on audio. I guess they are filming Mission Impossible 7, I believe. Is it either 7 or 17?
7 or 7,000. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
it's so many.
So apparently they're filming overseas, and there was this leaked audio that shows a raving mad Tom Cruise berating staff members, crew members, I guess who apparently weren't being so safe with COVID restrictions or COVID guidelines.
Yeah, supposedly they were standing too close together, which that doesn't seem to me to be the worst possible offense. But they take these COVID restrictions very seriously. I, not too long ago, just a couple of weeks ago, was supposed to work on a film that's shooting here in Boston with Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, and I had to take an hour-long class on set safety, where they have a green zone where you can take your mask off, a yellow zone where you have to wear your mask, or the red zone with the actors where you have to have a shield and a mask and gloves and a gown and so there's so much that's going into it right now, and that is the only thing that is allowing these productions to continue. And part of this expletive-laced rant was hey, I'm trying to protect everyone's jobs here on set.
So let's play part of the audio right now, and then we'll come back.
I'm on the phone with every studio at night, insurance companies, producers. And they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs, you I don't ever want to see it again. Ever. And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. And anyone on this crew does it. That's it. And you too, and you too, and you. Don't you ever do it again.
And we're back. So can you believe that rant? That was crazy.
Salty, James, salty. So some people hate it, and some people really love it. Where do you land?
So I'm curious. So is the allegation is that they were standing too close together? Was that the only thing, or were people taking their mask off, or is that all we know? Because if they were doing more, doing more than just standing together, I think Tom Cruise may, even though he sounds, he was saying a lot of the things that we all want to say to everybody else that we don't see wearing a mask or wearing it properly. Our inner Tom Cruise. if it was just people standing too close, that may have been an overreaction, unless it's something that he's brought up repeatedly to these specific people. But if it was more egregious, like, taking your mask off, not being safe, touching things, not, just being reckless, then in that case, I think that rant, that epic monologue of a speech that's going to be in his next movie, I think that may have been justified.
Yeah, I think a lot of people on Twitter were like oddly supportive of this aggressive rant, because like you said, yes, it's something that we wish that we could yell at people in the grocery store sometimes, or out and about in public. I don't know.
Famously in the last movie, there's a stunt that's caught on video, and he actually breaks his right foot during the stunt.
Yes.
But like Tom Cruise, as he does, he didn't break character. He continued acting and running through the scene until it was finished, and that scene made it to the movie. I'm predicting Tom Cruise is going to find some way to write the script where he's yelling at people, pedestrians on the street, for not wearing their mask.
Yeah,
because
he may have
COVID.
been channeling a character. I think some people were saying that online too. I don't remember the name of the movie, but I think they said he was channeling one of his previous characters in that regard. I don't know. I kind of love it. Other people are like, he's a cult member or whatever. Like, come on, but it's about COVID. It's about saving jobs.
But get this, nothing is drama-free, because according to New York Daily News, a former King of Queens star, Leah Remini, I believe that was the show she was on. She is calling BS. She's calling Tom Cruise out. She is accusing Tom Cruise of faking his outrage for a publicity stunt. In a scathing essay, according to Daily News, the King of Queens star called Cruise's psychotic rant, quote-unquote, a publicity stunt, and said the incident proves he's an abusive dictator, just as he was taught by the Church of Scientology. Again, going back to that controversial thing that he's a part of. And so she's accusing him of this being a publicity stunt, and this was all planned. And if Tom Cruise runs a tight ship, you think people wouldn't leak out information, but maybe, I don't know. You don't know.
No, I think it's pretty consistent with his character, actually.
Yeah,
and
he is very focused.
Yeah, I don't know. My only question is, was he jumping on a couch when this happened? There's a very funny meme where he's, doing the couch jumping, and and somebody added like electricity, like he's channeling Palpatine and electrocuting it. So that's kind of what I picture happening here, is that he's jumping and doing like the Palpatine on
it's in his contract to have a couch nearby. Just in reach.
I don't know. But I am pro continuing to have these jobs, movie jobs, TV jobs, on set, working, and continuing to, be there for people. I don't know. That's where I stand. Go
All right,
Tom.
So, go Tom. Let us know what you think. Do you think Tom's rant was implausible?
Oh, come on, you can do it. Implausible.
Implausible. Do you think Tom Cruise's rant was justified, or was it not? Do you agree? Yeah. Was it too far, or was it a publicity stunt? Let us know down below. Now, talking about publicity stunts. This is definitely not one publicity stunt. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Wonder Woman bombed in the box office. Here in the United States, because it's not Christmas yet, but over in China, where it's open to theaters. And apparently they were hoping, again, they know, given the COVID situation, they are already not going to be getting what they would normally get. But they were hoping for something around $35 million. They opened to a miserable $18.8 million in China, behind expectations. According to The Hollywood Reporter, including the China number, the Warner Brothers DC superhero sequel opened to a total of $38 million overseas when it began rolling out into 32 territories ahead of its December 25th debut on HBO Max. Now, not really great news, but now it's yet to be seen when it comes over here to the United States on HBO Max and in theaters, how it does. Because, again, if HBO Max sees success in this, then they're just going to keep throwing more, like Disney Plus, throwing more content directly onto streaming services, which is never good news for the theater-going experience.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to read that so much because different movies play differently in China. So this is a female-driven, led superhero movie that has a lot of American themes, has a lot of... So, you know, I'm not sure how much of that plays into it. I'm not but it remains to be seen. I don't know if we've heard of any reviews ahead of time before its release. It's being released in the next week here for Christmas. I'm very much looking forward to it. I've heard good things about Kristen Wiig's character and her performance. Pedro Pascal is also in this, playing the other villain.
Maxwell
Lord. Yes, and we've
with a
got,
name like that, you can't be a good guy.
We've got one of the bankable Hollywood Chris's back in the... Chris Pine is back with Gal Gadot, revitalizing his role. So, I mean, it looks amazing. I'm looking forward to it. I still don't know what I'm going to do, though, James. I don't know if this will be the first thing that I watch in the theaters in close to a year, or whether I'm going to shell out for HBO Max or sign up for a free trial, you know.
So here are your options. And so, like the other movies that have opened up in theaters this year, they've had a longer runtime in theaters because nothing new is replacing them, of course. And so I think if you want to see it in theaters, you will be able to, maybe later down in spring, during the spring, when vaccines become more available. And so if you wanted to go that route, wait until the vaccine comes out, I'm sure by spring or even later, it's going to be still in theaters. And so you could go that route, or you could go the route that many people are going to probably go, and HBO's Max is hoping for. They're going to subscribe, maybe try the 1 month free trial membership, and then watch that. So it's either wait, or you're going to subscribe to another streaming service.
Oh, man.
Which one is it?
We'll see. I don't know. I'm torn. I don't know yet. We'll see. I don't want to sign up for more things. I've signed up for enough things, James.
I too. And so I feel like you know what's funny? I did like Wonder Woman, the first one, and was looking forward to the sequel, of course. And I am excited that it's out, but I'm not running to the theater or the streaming whatever service I have to go see it. Like I can wait for some reason. Like it's not one of those big movies like Avengers Endgame or the season finale of Mandalorian. I can hold off on this. I don't know about you.
No, I really want to see it, but I can kind of see where you're coming from on that. It's a DC movie. There's nothing else to look forward to in DC. Nothing else that you want to it ties to that I'm interested in. Yeah,
and the DC universe they've created isn't like Marvel. It's not like I need to see what happens because I'm excited. Like they're not on a good streak of movies. Like they're unfortunately DC movies and not Marvel quality movies. So take that, DC.
Yeah, so they're very dark. So why bring in a Marvel movie writer into Star Wars when you could do a DC one? Like, it didn't make any sense when they brought in Chris Terrio from the Superman movies and DC Universe into Star Wars. And it's only one of the major critiques that I will have for Star Wars later in this episode and into perpetuity. But speaking of Pedro Pascal, speaking of Star Wars, the main event, what do we really want to talk about, James?
The Mandalorian. I don't have a baby Yoda, but I have a baby JB.
Hi, JB!
JB's back. Okay, so...
JB's hanging out.
Yeah, so the Mandalorian. Okay, so for those watching, those listening... Season finale, spoilers. We're going to get deep into spoilers, so if you haven't seen The Mandalorian yet, stop, push pause, go watch it, and then come back. And then, we'll talk more about it. But, yeah, Season 2 finished. Before diving into it, general thought for the future.
Oh,
hope?
My God.
Is there hope?
Oh, God. Okay, so I'm torn, James. I'm torn because the ending of the season finale, I got to tell you, my very first instinct was... I hate it. I was sort of viscerally angry with the direction that they decided to take. And since then, I have talked myself back from the ledge a little bit, but I'm a little worried about season 3 of The Mandalorian, and I'm very much on the fence and torn with this season finale. What was your first reaction? What was your first instinct?
I would say mixed, but definitely more on the satisfied side. I will say I do have some issues with it, but I'm still positive and optimistic for the future, and I was not completely let down.
So why don't you give us a recap?
Yeah, so The Mandalorian, The Rescue. This is, of course, the culmination of Season 2 after Baby Yoda gets kidnapped by Moff Gideon and the Dark Troopers and the rest of the Empire, the building Empire. And this, The Rescue, The Mandalorian and his allies attempt a daring rescue. And so we do see that. We see the opening up with the Slave One, Boba Fett's ship, of course, chasing this Imperial ship. And on the Imperial ship is the clone engineer, the main clone guy who's experimenting on Baby Yoda. And so
the scientist.
And so they commandeer the ship. They kill some of the pilots, and they are using the ship, the Imperial ship, to get onto Moff Gideon's larger craft.
Imperial cruiser, right?
Exactly. And they do it in a pretty creative way, and I liked it. They had Boba Fett Slave One chasing the Imperial ship as if it was, attacking it, trying to kill them, and which made the great excuse for, the Imperial ship with actual Bo-Katan, Cara Dune, Mando, and the rest, sneaking in pretty much, but going in guns a-blazing. So that was really cool to see. Throughout the episode, we see, again, Fennec, Cara Dune, Bo-Katan, and the other bounty hunter, female bounty hunter, this female-led team
Fennec.
just mowing down stormtroopers, and that was I like that part. That was definitely a highlight of the episode.
Yep, so they go in, they're making their way through the light cruiser, and then they separate, right? So Mando goes after the baby, and everyone else is heading towards the bridge. They're fighting the Dark Trooper droids, which is pretty exciting when Mando sends them all out the chute or whatever out into space.
And so just to back up a second, because it's funny, Moff Gideon was so confident, like, okay, these people have boarded the ship to get Baby Grogu. Let's just activate the dark stormtroopers. But yeah, as you mentioned, Mando with his Beskar spear was finally able, after a very difficult fight and like pretty much getting his butt whooped, he was able to grab the spear and kill one of the dark troopers before the rest of them were able to break through the doors, and he was able to activate a very convenient hatch that just shot them out into space, again very conveniently, but we'll let that slide. And so Mando eventually finds the cell that Grogu's being held, but what is being held above Grogu? The Darksaber, held by none other than Moff Gideon.
No, Baby Yoda,
no.
That was very intense. It was a good amount of suspense, because I didn't know what he was going to do. I'm like, oh my gosh, is he going to cut Baby Yoda in half? What is happening
And very easily,
here?
it would just like butter.
Oh, James, no, baby.
Baby
okay.
butter Grogu.
I'm covering his ears. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to James.
But I do like how Moff was kind of like, okay, I think he knew I can't beat Mando one-on-one, and so I'm just gonna, let him take Baby Grogu. So he tries to end or kind of work out a compromise. So he says, take
Very
Grogu,
clever.
but I just want the Darksaber, and then we're good. I already have what I need. I already have his blood. We're good. And so, Mando, of course, he's cool with that.
Why would he believe that? Why would he believe him? He's the
Maybe,
bad guy.
Again, well, I would let it slide for Mando just a bit, just because I know Bo-Katan made a big deal about the Darksaber, so maybe he thinks Moff Gideon, he wants the Darksaber, so maybe he's willing to compromise. He said he has what he needs, so I can understand Mando at least, don't turn your back to him, but I do understand you, but I kind of let it slide, that part.
Yeah.
But they have this awesome fight.
Yeah, they have this awesome fight because as you were saying, Mando reaches for Baby, and then Moff Gideon just freaking hacks at him, and they start fighting. But we come to find out that it was a trick. It was all a trick designed to get back at Bo-Katan, as we later learn, because Mando, with his Beskar spear defeats Moff Gideon, takes the Darksaber, and is in essence now the possessor of the Darksaber, and Bo-Katan will not take it from him, will not accept it from Mando, will not accept it from Din Djarin, because she has to win it in battle, apparently. And this is something that, Din had no idea about, Mando had no idea about it, and he's very
he's like, just take it.
He's just like,
it.
freaking take it. and she's like, no, Moff Gideon's right, we have to fight. He's like, okay, I yield, just freaking take it. And she won't. And she won't.
So that's definitely going to be a point of contention in the next season. But I think Moff Gideon, he had that kind of, in his that plan up his sleeve. But I think if he would have been able to kill Mando, I think he would have for sure done it. But that was a good backup plan also. One thing that upset me was when Moff Gideon, again, he was hiding that gun that the other stormtrooper, it fell when he was killed. So he's hiding this gun, this pistol, and at the end he pulls it out, shoots Bo-Katan, in her armor, and then shoots at Baby Yoda, instead hitting Mando as he dives in front of the baby, and he's he's opening up and just laying waste. And then Finnick and Cara Dune, they just yell, "Stop!" Dude, at that point, you're past yelling "stop." At that point, you're way past that. If you're actively shooting at a baby or anybody on my team, you're gonna shoot back. You don't just yell "stop" after he's done shooting. So failure on them.
Fail. Well, I know that they want him alive because of the information that he has, but still, come on.
Right. Anyway,
and then we get to the ultimate moment of this finale.
Yeah, because those Dark Troopers, the ones that were so conveniently expelled into space, they're back. They have rockets on their feet, so they're back. And
it's a whole platoon.
The whole platoon
of them. Yeah. And my only one of my little criticisms here is that we're getting a little bit too many of these moments where it's like, oh, we're gonna die and there's nothing else they can do, but then you're saved at the last second. It just seems like there's way too many of these moments. But anyways, there's an entire platoon of Dark Troopers coming, and who comes to the rescue? He has a lightsaber. It's green.
Luke Skywalker. That was cool.
Luke freaking Skywalker.
When I first saw the X-wing, it took me a second. A X-wing fighter comes in, and then I thought I was expecting two, because we've seen a previous episode where two X-wing fighters and the squadron pilots. They've interacted before, and so I was expecting to see another X-wing fighter, and kind of assumed that maybe the Republic coming to rescue them. But no, just one X-wing fighter, and then that one X-wing fighter comes in, docks, and oh crap, it can't be. And then I see a cloak watching through the security footage, and I'm seeing the cloak, and I think, no, that's too thin. I first think I think it's a woman.
Yeah.
That has to be a woman. And I'm going through my head, a female Jedi. Who could it be? That's not Ahsoka. She has a different. My brain is going a million miles a minute. And then he rounds the corner. You see a black glove. Oh my God, that's Luke Skywalker. And then
you see a green lightsaber.
Yeah.
And all doubt is removed. And I gotta tell you, James, I hated this decision initially. And I'll tell you why, and then we'll talk about why maybe I'm wrong. But there's just so much contention in the Star Wars fandom. What I really love about The Mandalorian is that it is separate. It is different. It is separate from the main Skywalker storyline. It is its own thing. It's like a cowboys and Indians type of theme, and it's, we're getting to explore so many interesting, unique aspects of the Star Wars universe through these
familiar
characters.
but new.
Familiar but new, and I liked it that way, James. I liked it that it was not connected to the freaking Skywalkers, and I think by introducing Luke into this universe, it just opens up a lot of wounds. It opens up a lot of contentions between Star Wars fans who are very upset about the sequel trilogy for various reasons, and the way that Luke was portrayed in the sequels, and the way that things turned out, and it ultimately, for me, what I'm really upset about is the treatment of Ben Solo, and why do we care about this one Skywalker and not the other? And I can get into that more a little bit later. But
yeah,
but
let's
for
first.
me,
yeah, go
for
ahead.
me that was just, I was just so upset. I'm like, no, why? It was so perfect. It was so beautiful. Why are you tainting this? But that was my visceral initial reaction. What do you think?
Well, I think that's still a little bit. Yeah, I think you still feel that way too. But I think that fire has subsided a bit. But let me just first say I loved the hallway fight scene. You know, Luke he went through the dark troopers like butter, and that was very impressive because that's Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, and we haven't seen that ever
in his full power, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's
glory.
in control. He's not even breaking a sweat. He is doing this, and that was amazing to see. I always wanted to see, you know, peak at his powers, height of his powers.
Luke Skywalker.
And so that was great to see. Yes, it was fan service, but I did enjoy that. At the very end, you know, it does make sense that Luke, again, if we're thinking in universe, at around this time, because we are in this timeline, it does make sense that the most powerful Jedi out there, or if not one of the most powerful Jedi out there being Luke, he would detect, if anybody, would be the one to detect Grogu's message, Force message out there. So I think that makes sense. I think that that on his face surface makes sense. Like, okay, it's believable that he would catch that signal.
Yeah.
And I think it is believable that he would go there and coming across Baby Grogu. I think it makes sense that he would, you know, take Baby Grogu to be trained. And so I think that makes sense how it you know, if you're going to throw Luke in there, that like everything that makes sense. So I was okay with, you know, that goodbye scene with Mando and Baby Yoda. That was, you know, heart-touching, heartbreaking, beautiful. And so I was okay with the ending, and I'm so curious where it's going to go. I do understand the backlash of, you know, interconnecting the Skywalker story into this one as well. And I do like how in season 1 it was going in its own direction, you know, again, familiar but new things that we haven't seen before in the Outer Rim, and I do like that. And so I am mixed. I'm still leaning on I'm more satisfied than not. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have reservations.
Yeah, you know, I'll give it this. As you were saying, yes, the ending with Baby Yoda and Luke saying he wants your permission, because Mando says he doesn't want to go with you, and Luke says he wants your permission, and then Mando gives him permission. He takes off his helmet one more time. Yoda touches him in the little Grogu touches him in the face, and he goes with Luke, and there's R2-D2 and it's kind of wonderful, and it's kind of sad, and it's emotional, and it's gripping, and I don't think that Baby Yoda is going to be with Luke Skywalker for very long, because then you have to wonder about season 3, and is it really a Mandalorian without little Grogu there with Mando? But they've set up a number of things that I think are going to be big in the next season. I don't know. So I do agree with you that there is potential here.
I do have one big criticism with the goodbye scene between Grogu and Din Djarin.
Okay.
I think Mando should have gave Baby Yoda the little silver ball.
Oh,
that would have been I would have died. I would have just saw that like, oh, that would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that's my one criticism of that goodbye scene.
He didn't have it on him, you know. He didn't have it on him.
But imagine the impact, though.
It would be very nice. It would be very nice.
And
definitely.
also, one thing that I realized also, and we kind of talked about this before, but because it has now officially been connected with the Skywalker, you know, kind of story, and with the previous the original trilogy, just the fact that many of these characters could have met again. I'm talking about Boba Fett and Luke. Last time Boba Fett and Luke saw each other, Boba Fett fell into a Sarlacc pit, and Luke killed everybody that Boba Fett worked for. And Ahsoka was really close to meeting Luke. And that interaction would have been amazing. Luke being able to tell Ahsoka that, hey, your former master, even though he turned to the dark side, guess what? He turned to the light side right before he passed away. He was saved. He redeemed himself. Yeah. I think that would have been an amazing moment for Ahsoka. I think she would have.
Maybe
I think she would have bawled. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, but this, I'm just saying, at least in this season and this episode, all three of them could have been on that same ship, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Luke. That would have been pretty amazing.
Yeah, so, I mean, Ahsoka's getting her own show, and now that they're reintroducing, like, 30-something de-aged Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, maybe we will get all of these storylines with all of these characters being interwoven, right, JB? I think Mark Hamill was talking about how they were able to keep this secret for over a year.
Yeah.
And he called that a triumph of everyone involved in the story. So it felt like a genuine surprise, and I appreciate that. Even if my first reaction was how much I hated it.
Now, one thing I did not love was CGI Luke, was de-aged Luke.
Okay.
I was telling my girlfriend that they had, or did I tell you right now? I told you that they had a year to work on this. Apparently, again, like as Mark Hamill said, they had a year to keep this a secret, to work on this. And for a year's work, and I know they've done better in lesser time with other movies, like, again, in Avengers and in the Marvel and the other movies we see with Disney. I was not impressed with how it looked. In still photos, that's Luke Skywalker. He looks great. But the moving and the voice with it, it wasn't matching for me or working for me.
Yeah, I mean, they did a really great job with Nick Fury, but I feel like they didn't have to work as hard in de-aging the Nick Fury character as they did maybe for Mark Hamill, because I think
they should have brought back Mace Windu and de-aged him. It would have been super easy, and it would have looked great.
It would have been super easy. Well, maybe they will. There's still time, James. There's still time. Yeah, I mean, I think when Luke takes off his hood and he's standing still, like, it looked amazing. It looked perfect. But you're right, as soon as he started talking, like, I don't know, like, the cheeks weren't moving right, and the face, like, he didn't
For me,
have,
it was the
like,
lips.
The craters and the scars that he had at the end of The Last Jedi. It just looked almost too smooth. It looked too nice, and, the mouth wasn't exactly following the voice.
Was he cratered in Return of the Jedi?
Oh, yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he was, and he had a scar. I think at the time when he was making the film, he had just been in a car accident.
That is right.
And they kept some of the scars on his face as just part of it.
I don't know. I guess I have
that gives him more character. Go for it.
Oh no, I didn't know that that he was in a car accident during or before Empire Strikes Back. So he did have some scarring and issues. But Return of the Jedi, I don't know. Maybe it's just rose-colored glasses, but. I think he looks good. And so when I saw that, I thought, that's Luke. But I guess I have to go back and look at it. But so still standing, not really talking, looks really good. Just everything else. Yeah. Okay,
so one thing I want to address, James, is that I think a lot of people, one of the first things that they asked after seeing this and having this connection now is, did Kylo Ren kill baby Grogu at Luke's temple and all this stuff? No, okay? No. And can I just get into why for a moment, okay? Ben Solo did not kill the students at Luke's
Academy. Please only our audience.
Okay?
I'm kidding.
I am going to do like the Hillary Clinton, shame on you, Barack Obama.
Oh, goodness.
I'm doing that. Shame on... No, I'm not. I'm sorry. But... It's just, he didn't. So if, I just want to get people up to speed, James. I want to inform them.
Because I don't know either. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're informing me.
If you haven't read the Rise of Kylo Ren comics, which came out before the Rise of Skywalker, you learn that when Luke tried to kill Ben Solo, and Ben Solo has, fights Luke and collapses the little hut, and then he leaves the hut. When Luke wakes up, the temple is burning and everyone is dead. However, it shows in the comic that when Kylo came out, the temple was burning. The temple was already burning, and this was the work of Snoke and the Knights of Ren. Okay? The Knights of Ren and Snoke in combination burned down and exploded the temple, because obviously Snoke is aware of what is happening with Luke and with Kylo, and may have even had a hand in seeding that fear inside of Luke, so that he whipped out his lightsaber and wanted to strike down Ben, in stoking that fear. Because as we come to learn, Snoke has been in Kylo's mind, in Ben Solo's mind, since he was in the womb, James. He's been emotionally manipulating this poor child. And there's a moment where Kylo, Ben Solo, is running towards the temple, and he tries to save his fellow students, and he gets blown back by the explosion. And he says, I didn't mean to, I didn't want this. And Snoke's voice in his head is saying, no, but Luke Skywalker wanted it. And Luke Skywalker brought it on himself, and he convinces Kylo to come to him instead of returning to his mother. And it's very dramatic. And then there's a moment where some other students had returned, saw what was happening, and Ben Solo tries to explain to them, no, Luke tried to kill me, I didn't do this, and they don't believe him. And so they try to stop him. He kills one of those students. He kills one of them. And then he leaves with the Knights of Ren. And he leaves on his mission. Or I don't know if he leaves with the Knights of Ren, but he leaves to go to Snoke. And then as he takes on the persona of Kylo Ren, he claims that responsibility for what happened to Luke's temple, and he takes on the moniker of the Jedi Killer, even though he in actuality did not. And so I don't know why they went through all of the pains to make him this sympathetic character who's been manipulated his entire life, gets torn away from his family, he's the last Skywalker of, he's Luke's nephew, and, he's been manipulated his entire life. He frees himself at the end. He comes to Rey's defense at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. And then instead of all of the Force ghosts coming around him because he's turned to the light and saving him and giving him a chance to live his own life and be free in his own mind and save, the end of the Skywalker lineage, they just kill him. And it's just so unsatisfying. It's so not what it should have been. I'm so torn, James, because I think everybody loved the Kylo Ren character. He was the favorite of the sequel trilogy. What's his name? Adam Driver was carrying that entire sequel on his shoulders, and I think that if you are going to give the love and redemption to characters like Darth Vader or like Luke Skywalker, then you really needed to do it for Ben Solo. And the only thing that I'm looking forward to that I feel like might happen here is, now that Grogu is with Luke, that maybe baby Grogu will hook up with baby Ben Solo, who at this point is 4 or 5 years old in the timeline, and that maybe they get to be friends, and maybe we'll see a moment of that sprinkled in there. That would be my hope. I would really, really love to see that. But I hope that this is the beginning of the seeds of fixing what was done to the Ben Solo character, because I care about him just as much as I care about Luke Skywalker, just as much as I care about Darth Vader, and he deserved a lot better, and hopefully that they're going to fix that eventually. That's my only hope that I get out of this. But that is bringing people up to speed. No, Ben Solo / Kylo Ren did not kill the students at Luke's Academy, and I do not think that he killed Baby Grogu, because I don't think Baby Grogu is going to stay with Luke for long. That's the end of my rant. Now it's your turn.
I do like how you use the Mandalorian and Baby Grogu just to go back to Ben and bring him back into the conversation. I will
never give up hope on Ben Solo. I will never give up hope on
No.
Solo.
And I love your passion, and you are right. Ben's character was not done. Was not done right. He was not done right. And it would have been nice to see a lot of that. That before he turned to the dark side, to see that in movies, either 1, 2, or 3, the new trilogy. So that would have been nice. It wasn't done right. I do love your passion, and again, any reason to bring him back into the forefront and to find any redemption for him. either way, I am confident in the future of Star Wars. Again, the last trilogy, I lost confidence. I lost. I was close to turning to the dark side, but no, The Mandalorian, again, at the end of the day, is a show in it of itself, has done so much for the Star Wars universe, the galaxy, its fans, the fandom, and so again, kudos to Jon Favreau. Kudos to Dave Filoni. Kudos to everybody involved in The Mandalorian. I know that the ending wasn't as perfect, or what many people had hoped for or had thought, but at the end of the day, it is bringing Star Wars back into the discussion in a positive light. I think more so than negative, so that's good, and I'm open for the future.
I think maybe they're going to fix some of the things that were wrong. I think that they're using this as an opportunity to heal the fandom, and I think that that's a great thing. So kudos from me as well. One question that I have for you though, James, before we wrap up our discussion: season 3 of The Mandalorian. What is it looking like? What are your hopes for it?
I'm not married to any theory in particular, but I'm thinking it's going to start out with Mando back, maybe trying to, well, let's see. He's still going to be interacting with the Empire, right? So the Empire's still going to be after him. So he may be on the hunt. More bounties may be placed on him. But I think eventually Baby Grogu's going to maybe decide not give up the Force, but not to stay with Luke and go back to Dad.
No,
but that's
I think he will too.
Yeah.
I think he will too, and I also so Mando has the Darksaber. Is he the king of the Mandalorians right now? And in the whole
and he doesn't want it. That's the funniest thing. He's like, I don't want it. Take it.
Yeah, I know, and so is he going to try to take back Mandalore? He's got, Boba Fett's gone off on his own thing. Boba Fett's off to do his spin-off now, as you saw in the end credits.
Yeah, which is great
takes
seeing.
He takes over Jabba's palace.
I love that guy because Jabba's a right-hand man. He becomes the new mob king, and so that was when I saw his face, I loved it. I was like, I laughed out loud because it was so great, of course. And that's actually in Legends. In Legends, he survived the escape with Luke and Han and all them, but he came back to become the head of the mob. But so that was great to see, and again, I love that Dave Filoni and them, they're making a lot of things that were Legends canon. So that was cool.
Yes, they're bringing the wonderful kind of interconnectivity of the MCU to Star Wars, and that's what we needed all along.
See, there's a lot of weird stuff.
The beginning.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in Legends that I'm pretty sure they're not going to touch, but there's also a lot of cool stuff in Legends that they're bringing into the reality, into the universe. So that's cool.
Yeah, so there's things to look forward to. A Mandalorian season 3 without Baby Yoda, I don't know, but I think they're throwing enough in there that it'll keep people watching, and hopefully it's just as good. But like I said, I think Baby Yoda will come back to Daddy, just like you said. So we'll see how that all works out, James.
All right. Do you think Baby Yoda is going back to Daddy? That sounds weird, but either way, comment down below. Let us know what you think about The Mandalorian. Are you happy? Are you satisfied with the Season 2 finale? Are you a little upset? Did you like seeing Luke? Did you not? Let us know down below. You can also follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, at Hub on Hollywood. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, smash that button. Thank you very much. But for the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. See you next time.
Bye.